All right, this should be working. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And
Let's
we're back.
jump on over to Facebook and see if this is working this time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As you're tuning in, love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, I'd love to know the three things you are grateful for in your world today.
I'm super grateful for our beautiful walk today along the river. I'm super
All
grateful.
right, it's working.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to interrupt my wife.
Tell us three things you're grateful for. We can't wait to hear them. Or maybe three things you're excited about.
I see the number ticking up there.
Can you hear us?
They can hear us loud and clear. As you're tuning in, love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, love to know three things you are grateful for. Here is a beautiful view of where we are at. Check it out. We do need a little bit more snow, as you can tell, before we hit those slopes. But thank you for tuning in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, here we go. Pete, yeah, we've got sound.
What's up, Pete?
Bob, nice to see you.
Hi,
Susie
Bob.
from West Palm, welcome. Elaine, nice to see you.
Hi,
Peter,
Elaine.
Joseph, Brian, Fred, welcome, 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 welcome. As everyone is
Where are you
tuning
guys
in,
tuning in from?
we would love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, we'd love to know three things you're grateful for out there in the world. Put it right down there in the comments section.
I'm grateful that I didn't cut off my finger today. Just a little bit. 'Tis but a flesh wound. As I was cutting up veggies, I lost just a little bit. But I still have my whole finger. Grateful for that. That's a
Trisha
win.
from
What's
Calgary.
up, Lucas?
Lucas from Orlando, what's up?
Sorry, I do not need to yell.
No, my ear is right here. I can hear you. Bob from Newport Beach, Joseph from Toronto, Melissa, Pinehurst, North Carolina, Christy, Ireland, family, friends, Job.
Ireland!
What's up?
In the
Welcome, welcome,
house.
welcome.
Hope you had a great St. Patty's Day.
So we see where you all are from. Now I want to know three things you are grateful for. Put it right down there in the comment section. Olga from Austin, Rich from Stone Harbor, New Jersey.
Austin.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
What up, New Jersey?
Susie, love you guys. Oh, thanks, Susie. Throwing hearts right back
Love
at
you,
you.
Susie.
Boom, 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 boom. There's some floating hearts for you.
Three things you're grateful for. Let's hear it.
Let's
If you
hear it.
can't think of anything, think of something.
Pete is from Sydney. He's grateful for sound working, the opportunity
Thanks.
to spend time with you guys, and the awesome weather.
Heck yeah.
Pete, we're pumped about the awesome weather here, too. It is bright. Albert, nice to see you. It is bright, and actually, it was sunny today.
It was
A little
beautiful.
cloudy now. Hopefully, it gets cold and snowy soon, because we want some snow.
I'm kind of enjoying this warm winter thing called spring. I like it.
Let's see. Georgina, 2 days in a row. Hell yeah. Hey, you gorgeous humans from Gold Coast of Australia.
What's up, Australia? We got so many Aussies in the house. We got to get back there.
Susie is grateful for friends, family, and God.
Heck
Olga,
yeah.
life, love, and God. Diana from Dallas, Texas, grateful we can hear you. Yes, us too.
Aw, thanks.
Grateful that today was great day. Grateful for your health. Wonderful. Pierre from Quebec. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
So let's see. As y'all are tuning in, love to know. I see the number continue to tick up. I think it's elite. Choosing to leave my job. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Hopefully
That's
it's a
major.
fun journey you were headed on. Khalid from Morocco, welcome back.
Wish you the best of luck.
Let's see. Meg from, looks like Wisconsin. A beautiful sunshiny day.
What up, Cheesehead?
My positivity during current dark times.
Oh, good job.
I just feel happy and grateful despite the craziness. Thanks for doing the daily gratefuls. Wim Hof, Robbins, breathing tricks. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you too,
Wim
Meg.
Hof.
Georgina, I'm grateful for the beautiful rain here, my incredible supportive workmates, and my delicious breakfast shakes every day. All right.
Georgina, send us one of those breakfast shakes. That sounds
Fred,
delicious.
grateful for the wonderful scenery y'all share in your travels as well as the experiences of humor.
Thank you, Fred.
We love you, Texas, says Olga. Yasmin says the green
Texas.
juice. All right, all right, all right.
Yes.
So thank you all for sharing. We always appreciate hearing what y'all are grateful for and where you're from. It's always fun. We get people
It's super
literally from
fun.
all over the globe, and we're always pumped for y'all tuning in. So thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Today, Kent, what's up, buddy? Welcome.
Hi, Ken.
So today we're going to be chit-chatting about
Chit-chatting.
being quick but not hurrying. And it's an interesting concept. Coach John Wooden actually wrote a book on this concept, And it's a really fascinating concept because it's this interesting mix of being quick to take action, being quick to commit to things, being quick to follow through, being quick to show up and deliver value, being quick in your life and decisions and actions, yet not hurrying. And then it kind of seems like an oxymoron, like be quick, but don't hurry. Yet, there's a beautiful, beautiful philosophy here. And Amanda has a great story to share with you about this that she's going to share in a few minutes. But it's the concept of learning how to be quick to the things that really do matter that you act quick on. So, I always tell that story. I have a friend of mine who works with us. His name's Gabe. And he used to tease me all the time. He's like, you're like Forrest Gump. And I used to always stare at him and be like, I don't know if that's a compliment. I think it's a compliment, but I don't know. Because Forrest was pretty cool in the end of the movie, but in the beginning of the movie, he kind of struggled a little. and I was like, well, which Forrest Gump am I? Like the cool one or the struggling one? And he said, no. He's like, you're quick to do stuff. And I said, what do you mean? And he says, I remember we were sitting down one time and someone's like, well, you should start a business around that. And literally, he's like, a day or two later, you had filed the paperwork, opened the business, had it moving, had it up and running, and literally had enrolled someone into the business. I was like, and? He's like, dude, I don't know where you're from, but most people, or at least him at the time, he was telling me, he's like, I've had great ideas like that. And I said, well, what did you do with them? And he's like, well, I thought about it. Then I thought all about the pros. Then I thought about the cons. And then I was like, I don't know. It's probably too risky. So I just mulled it over a while. And then I talked to a few friends about it. And then after that, I tested the market. So I just kind of like threw it out there to see what people would say. And I didn't get a whole lot of response. So I just kind of kept it to myself. But then I saw someone like a couple years later come out with it. And their business exploded. And I remember I started laughing. I said, I grew up where my grandpa always used to tell me every time he would see frozen yogurt, he's like, I came up with that idea. And I'd always laugh because I'm like, really? That's awesome he came up with it, but someone else did it. What happened? Where was the in-between motion? And so I don't know where I got it from, but luckily I picked up the habit of being quick to get into motion on things that matter. And so the big defining factor to start with is how to figure out what things matter and what things don't. And so I look at things that are going to help me become happier, healthier, more fulfilled as a human being, things that will cause our relationship to get stronger and tighter and more connected, things that will give me more freedom or opportunity to have freedom in life or grant freedom to friends and family, things that will help me benefit other people's lives and add massive value. Those are things that matter to me. They're high on my value hierarchy list, and because they're important to me, so an easy way to find that out for yourself is ask yourself, what's most important to you in life? And you just heard a series of my values. So freedom, flexibility, giving that freedom to other people, sharing with others, adding massive value, our relationship. All these factors are very valuable or high on the value list for me personally. So anything that helps me get closer to what I value most, I tend to act very quick in getting started and in getting the momentum on our side and in getting it set up and moving and working. Now, what's tricky is I've learned through reading this book from John Wooden, which is I'm quick to get it started. And at one point in my life, I was also in a hurry trying to get quick to start it, but then trying to hurry to the end result, trying to rush it or force it or push it or somehow get to this desired outcome I was aiming for and missing out on the whole process in between. And so often, I don't know about you, but we tend to do that. If you've ever done something like this, feel free to throw us one of those little floating thumbs up on the screen. They look like this.
Tell us if you've done that before, if that's something you're working
on. Or like
on.
the floating heart.
Yeah.
So they look like down there on the screen. But if you've done that before, tell me a specific situation where you've done this, where, what are some areas in your life where you've either hesitated when you should have been quick to act, and what are some areas of your life where you've hurried and kind of missed out on the experience or missed out on the journey when you should have just enjoyed the process? And I heard something from Gary Vaynerchuk a little bit ago, and he was talking about this concept of people being like, well, Gary, are you going to buy the jets like next year, 2 years? Like, when are you going to get there? Because he has this huge dream. And he says, I'm more concerned with becoming the person who has the ability to buy the jets than I am with actually buying the jets. He's like, don't get me wrong. I want to buy the damn team. But I'm more concerned with becoming the type of person who can buy the team, because the gap between who I am today and who I'll need to be in order to do that is a big gap. Mentally, intellectually, physically, spiritually, to be able to overcome the challenges, to be able to get through the obstacles, to be able to, see through the woods and figure out, get through that forest to the major outcomes that'll need to be accomplished. The ability to influence the masses of people in order to get there, the ability to take care of masses of people as far as your community or your employees or your team or the team when you get them. There's so many factors that have to grow within a human being for them to be ready to actually make that kind of purchase or make that kind of step forward. And Cameron says, I've gone through this. Thanks, Cam, for sharing. So this concept of growing yourself into the type of person you need to become in order to be ready for those steps and processes. And I know Amanda had a great story she was sharing with me, specifically in this process in relationships, because when we first met, I'll share this. One thing that was beautiful is the day we met, in the very first conversation we ever had, there was a connection there. And Amanda was very quick to take action or commit to action of something that we both valued, which was travel and adventure and giving back. And I remember I told her, I was like, oh, my next trip is going to be a 25-day, 10-country cruise. I'm taking people with me through Central and South America. And literally, without me saying, like, would you like to come or anything like that, her gut response is, I'm in. And I remember being like, whoa.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I knew I was in.
She was quick. She was quick to take action, quick to commit. And I was kind of like, really? So I've heard people say stuff like that before, but very few of them actually followed through on the process. Because
I think it's like what I think Susie was saying. Most of us don't act on our ideas, which is true, unfortunately. Why not?
It's just true.
So here's the catch. You have this amazing idea, and many of us either don't act on it, or when we do, we hurry through it and we just try to get to the finish line as soon as possible. Versus, really, if we just take a moment and think about what Jairek just said about the person you become in achieving that goal. Whether the goal is a success or a failure, just think about the person, whatever goal it is that you have, the next major thing you're focused on, the project, the business, whatever it is, maybe finding that significant other, that soulmate of yours, but think of the process and the person that you will become as you work towards that goal. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking.
Trying to figure out what's up there. I mean, you were really going for the ceiling. I thought like something was going to come get me from up above.
No, I was just thinking about I don't want to close it out. Anyways, whatever. So just think about the person. And I think anytime you're rushing into
the story. So
here's the story. The story that I was just sharing with Jairek was one, we were talking about how, I can come with a million examples in business, but one that I think, and they happen in relationships too. And so this was a pretty special one. And so, am I still looking up there? Looking at you guys. All right. So I was just sharing with Jairek. Do you want the good one or the bad one first? I'll do the not so good one first. So, years ago, I remember I was talking with a coworker and I was asking her where she was going for the weekend. And she's like, well, I'm heading up to the OC to spend some time with my best friend. I'm thinking, awesome. That sounds pretty exciting, right? And she's like, well, it's not actually a happy trip. It's a pretty sad one. I'm like, oh dear, what happened? And so she's like, well, she's going through a divorce. And I was like, oh shit. And so sometimes, true to form, I ask questions which are probably none of my business, but I'm just so curious. I just blurt out like, oh gosh, what happened? What happened? Why? Why are they getting a divorce? And so she was gracious enough to tell me, and she's like, well, Amanda, it's actually quite simple. Like she thought that she had this whole timeline, and she just went about that timeline as fast as humanly possible. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, she thought she was supposed to meet the guy at this age, then move in with him, then get married, then get the dog, then get have the babies. And just, it was like this perfectly curated timeline that was so at this date and this time. And it was like and it actually wasn't unfolding naturally or organically or just enjoying the process. It was very much, find the guy, get the guy, marry the guy, have the kids, and so forth. And it just ended up crumbling. And that's how she explained it to me. And it was really beautiful. So we're talking about it a little bit more. And, as we took a second, we thought about it, like we realized like there's so many people, whether in business or relationships or whatever, that we think we have to just race to that finish line. If it's, you know, meeting the guy, having the family and living happily ever after, we rush to that finish line versus taking time to actually enjoy dating or enjoy being engaged. Like that's a really magical time. There's only one time, you know, that's a very, not once for some people, but you know, you get that special period of time where you get to just be fiancés, which is pretty fun and romantic. And then, did you want to add?
Mm-hmm.
Go.
So what's interesting about it is, there's a dichotomy here of 2 points of being able to be quick when you know it's the right thing, when you know it meets your values, when certain qualifiers are met. But it's really truly taking time to slow down and actually enjoy the process.
Enjoy the process.
Like really, truly enjoy sharing the process. Enjoy learning about the process. Enjoy experiencing the process. Enjoy, you know, the stuff that you didn't even know, the little stuff that exists within the process that you didn't even know was there. And what's wild is when you can literally get into that. And I know it's, you know, it's trite, and you hear people say, enjoy the journey. Life's about the dash in between the beginning and the end. And there's a reason why they all keep saying it. It's true. And so, you know, what I would, to bring this home to you who are listening right now and hanging out with us, and thank you for everyone who's here. Susie asked a great question. How do you know which is which? And so let's help decipher between these two, because they overlap with each other a little bit. And so, and then we'll share the second story of the beautiful one you shared with me. The being quick. So being quick, and let's, you know, decipher. Being quick to act when you know it's right. And how do you know it's right? Instincts, you know, is one way to know it's right. Having preset criteria. So one thing that I've learned to help couples with, or young people with, or any people with, when they're ready to transition into finding that long-lasting relationship, one thing that's really important is having a set of criteria. And I don't mean they're this tall and look like this and act like this and sound like this and love these things. Like, not those things. I'm talking about like the stuff under the hood, meaning what's their conflict style? What are their core beliefs about life? What do they really value? You know, how do they handle conflict? How do they communicate? What are their communication style? Like the underlying stuff that's going to determine if you have someone that can make it through the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, the twists, the turns that life throws your way. Because if you have a fair weather mate, then you have someone that when everything's perfect, they're golden. But the moment stuff gets hairy, they're out. And I remember hearing a heartbreaking story about something like that.
Thanks for all the hearts.
Thanks for all the hearts. I remember hearing a heartbreaking story where this young woman had married this guy who was a big motocross guy, and they were together, and they had these beautiful kids, and she was super hot, and he was super cool, and all of a sudden he got in a horrible accident, put himself in a wheelchair, and her response was, I just can't do this. And she walked away. And she left him with kids in a wheelchair. And so luckily, all his bros, all the guys he used to ride with, stepped in, and they helped become the uncles to help take care of the kids and help him out and help get life together and help figure it all out. And so, you know, I'd hate to say it because I don't know them personally, but in an example that's something like that in a way, shape, or form, I bet if you would have looked under the hood and asked some deep, profound questions about who that person really is internally, psychologically, spiritually, in their heart and their soul, you'd get to know, are they a proper fit for where you're trying to head, where you're trying to go? And if you're someone who has a, you know, growth mindset that believes part of life is failing, part of life is going through challenging times, part of life is figuring out how to go through all this stuff, because that's just part of life. And if you know that's ahead in your journey, you have to find someone who's able, willing, and ready and capable of going through all that stuff with you. It's going to be crazy, and it's going to be ups and downs and lefts and rights, but someone who's willing to go through that journey with you. And so let's just start with being quick. Number one, you want to be quick when your intuition tells you it's the right thing. Now, I see a couple people put me little stars and globes about intuition, but with intuition, you have to learn how to tap into that inner guide. We have a friend who wrote a book called, what's Gabby's book called? Something you're ing. But it's talking about, really learning how to declutter your mind, declutter your space, declutter yourself, so you can connect with that inner guide. I know Gabby Bernstein is a buddy of something like that. Adding more ing to your life. We'll look it up.
Look up Gabby Bernstein.
Gabby Bernstein, ing. It's her on a skateboard in like Manhattan on a road. It's pretty cool. And so she talks about getting in touch with that inner guide, getting in touch with that inner piece of who you are so that you can trust that guide and your intuition can guide you. Women's intuitions tends to be more keen than guys in certain areas, and guys' intuition tends to be more keen in others. Us guys are really good at like, that guy doesn't feel safe, therefore we go into protective mode. Or we walk into a room and we look for exits, entrances, basically anywhere someone could come and get us or anything we need to escape to. We're good at that stuff, intuition-wise. Women are really good at intuitionally feeling how other people are feeling. If people feel like a threat, if people are open, if people are happy. They're really good at that stuff. So you have to be able to trust your intuition. And if your intuition says it's the right thing for you to be at or do or be a part of, trust it and be quick to act. Second, commitment. If you know that your intuition has guided you to be quick. I'm sorry. So intuition is one. Two, preset criterias. When we met, I had sat down and preset criterias of the type of woman I was looking for. And one of the biggest criterias wasn't what I was trying to get from her. It wasn't what she looked like. It wasn't, I can't tell you this 100% because the first list I ever wrote when I was young, what she looked like, what she was interested in, the values she had and the interests she had and the things we wanted to do together. And more or less, it was a lot of stuff I wanted to experience from her or with her, but mainly from her. And what I'd learned over the process was you have to get to a point where if you're going to a relationship, it's no longer to try to get something from them. It's about wanting to offer something or give something and share something with them. And so there was a big distinction along the way. And I've watched lots of relationships where people go to get something from it. And the moment whatever it was, is no longer there, they have to go find it somewhere else, whether they find it in their work, their kids, another person, but they got to find it somewhere else because they've drained it out of the relationship and it's gone, it's empty. And so instead of going there to give and fill up and constantly make that relationship better with what they want to offer, they're trying to take it from it and get it from it. And so in that criteria, it's about what you really want to bring to the relationship, what you want to give to that person. So I had criteria of all the things I wanted to share most with this amazing human being before I met her. And I didn't know who she was going to be at the time. I just knew, hey, here's the most important things I hope to share with the human being, and I hope that they value this. Now, here's a wild question.
I'm just sharing this video. That's why I'm looking down.
Got it.
I found my phone. I can share it.
So the question becomes, why would I want the person I'm going to spend forever with to value the things that I want to share most with her? Why is that important? Well, let me fast forward something. For men, when we hit an older stage of life, generally we have one thing we become interested in. Whatever that one thing is for that man in his life, that's the only thing he freaking wants to do or talk about or be a part of. How do you know this? Go to a family reunion and watch the older men in the room. They're either one, the life of the party, sharing their gift with the group, making everyone laugh, making everyone feel alive, making everyone feel like the most amazing experience on earth, and because they're sharing their gift and their gift is valued there. Or they're sitting in the corner off by themselves, kind of just quietly hunched over because they feel that their gift they want to offer is not valued in this space. Therefore, they feel not valuable. Therefore, they just sit there and be quiet. And so what's wild, if you want to think long-term in a relationship, as a guy, you want to figure out what those gifts are that right now it's gifts. Because there's lots of options I love, but I realize as I get older, it'll probably become gift that I really value, and hopefully it's one of the ones I still value now. And at that point, I want to make sure that this beautiful woman values it and cherishes those gifts so that as we get older and I continue wanting to share it with her, that she values it. It's a good way to make sure it's matching short-term and long-term. The worst thing, though, is when you see an older man share his gift, and you see everyone in the proximity, his family, his friends, and even his spouse go, oh, he's talking about this again. And they all ignore it, or they all get upset, or they all think it's annoying. And you see that person just kind of deflate because their gift is not valued. So the next piece is making sure you have criteria. That's one long example of a criteria. But making sure you know criteria that matter short-term and long-term of whatever it is you're about to jump into. And as long as the check boxes are checked, as long as the criteria matches, boom, be quick to act on it. Be quick to go for it. Be quick to move and get involved. And also the other piece of being quick, so trusting your instincts, having criteria. What other things would you want to be quick on? Here's a thought. I'll throw this in there while you're thinking of one. Be quick to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty easy. We all have instincts. We all know what's right and wrong. And what's wild, when you look at research and studies, it shows that if a group of people, and we see these horrible things on the internet nowadays, where you see a whole group of people standing around, and you see a person getting beat up or people fighting with each other, and instead of doing the right thing, stopping it, cooling them down, pulling them apart, you see people like this, making sure they got great footage of whatever the heck's happening. And what they figured out in a study, if two people were getting into a fight or someone was getting picked on, and it was one person by themselves nearby, they're more likely to be like, hey, cool that off. Hey, stop it. Versus if there's a group of people, a pack of people, and they observe someone getting picked on or beat up, a lot of times they'll go with pack mentality, and they'll just all stand there and film it or observe from a distance and do nothing. So you know what doing the right thing is. Sometimes the right thing is get the heck out of the way. Sometimes the right thing is stepping in and being like, yo, cool off. What the heck are you doing? And there's some beautiful, YouTube vloggers that go out and make these little spoof videos where they put two people next to each other, one's picking on the other, and you see people sitting at a bus stop who don't even know them. We're like, hey, stop it. Don't you dare say something like that to them. And you're fine. Don't listen to that. And you see people step in and do the right thing. So be quick when your instincts tell you it's the right thing. Be quick when your criteria is met it's the right thing. Be quick when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do and to step in and do what's right, to stand up for what you believe in or voice yourself. What other things would you want to be quick on?
I think you're on a great roll. What I was going to add wasn't necessarily what to be quick on, but it was almost more to know when you're hurrying. So, for example, the example that he gave was I was quick to say, yes, I want to do that. I want to join you on that retreat or going to Central and South America. I knew that was on my list of the next place I want to go, so it was quite easy. But I knew that I wouldn't hurry through that process of signing up, right? I need to still do my due diligence and make sure it's a good fit. I was quick to commit and say, yeah, I'm in, I'm interested, let's do this. But I think not hurrying through the process of, again, getting there. And I think what that looks and feels like may be different for everyone. For me, it's a feeling of like, I feel like I'm running around with my head cut off. And when you're feeling like that, you have gotten so far into the weeds, you need to pull out and look at the big picture. So for me, a differentiation between being quick is like, yeah, jump to it, make it happen, but not doing so in a way that I feel like I'm running around with my head cut off and everything's crazy and I'm stressed out, because that is hurrying. So again, going back into that quickness versus that hurrying mode would simply be a matter of...
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Hi. We're glad you joined. Welcome. We've been waiting for you. We're glad you signed in.
Finally,
you're
here.
Go ahead. Back to your story.
Okay, so it is being able... So even if you catch yourself hurrying through something, take a step back. Just pause. Remember where you're at. Appreciate where you're at. Celebrate what you've accomplished. And become refocused and clear on where you're heading next. And there's no hurry. No one gets a prize for finishing first. If anyone gets...
Hold on. That's not true. You get a trophy.
You get a trophy.
And gold medals and endorsements if you finish first in most things in life.
Okay. So you get all that crap.
Nobody
but really,
gets a trophy for trying, I think is what you were trying to say.
Yes. The real...
Not in this house.
Yes. The real winner of it is the person that becomes... more enlightened or knowledgeable or educated, experienced. They've learned the lessons. They've fallen down. They've brushed themselves off. They've got back up, and they keep going. And they're not hurrying through it, they're able to embrace everything, the whole journey.
They're able to develop themselves and grow themselves through the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Claire says, I called the police when I heard a neighbor screaming. She had fallen and banged her head and broke her hip. I saved her life. So exactly. Knowing that piece. Rita says, this is such great advice. I'm taking notes.
Thanks, Rita.
Jeremy says it's great advice too. Mike,
That's
nice
awesome.
to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. More family joining. Love when family
Stuff
joins.
saves lives.
Stuff saves lives, people. But the concept of really, truly, so being quick when you trust your intuition, it tells you it's right to move on. Being quick when you have your core criteria check boxes checked, and you're like, oh, check, perfect. I need to move on it. Now go.
Yes.
Being quick when, what was the third one?
To do what's right.
Being quick with doing what's right, standing up for what you believe in, acting on something that you know in your gut, in your heart, in your soul, it is the right thing to do. Being quick on that.
And when you forget, I think, your why of what you're doing, you've slipped into hurry.
So we're getting the hurry. What are any other pieces?
No, I think you covered it. I can't think of...
Okay, so those are 3 criteria on where to be quick. I'm sure there's more, but let's use those core 3 for today. Now let's transition over to don't hurry. Be quick. So be quick to commit when you're, gut instinct tells you or intuition tells you. Be quick when it's the right thing to do. Be quick when your criteria is met. You're like, check. Okay, perfect. Be quick. Move on it.
Yes.
And you want to be quick in 2 things. Quick in the decision to say, I'm going to do it. Quick in the commitment. I am committed and I'm going to move forward on it. And quick in the action to do something immediately to get it started, to get it moving, to get it in process. And when you have those 3 criteria, and then 3 things, you decide, you commit, and then you take immediate action to start getting momentum on your side. And in that 3 areas of quickness, now it's moving. Now, once it's moving...
That was a quick, take action? No, decide, commit, take action.
Decide, commit, and take action. Now, the next piece is, now here's where you want to slow down. And so this sounds, my wife loves the word slow down. You can see by her look at me go. Here's where you want to slow down. Once you've made the decision, once you've committed to following through on it, once you've taken an action, now you want to slow down the process. We have a joke that when either of us is talking at 2.5 speeds, some of us like to, what? Mm-hmm. Some of us like to listen in audiobooks.
I saw you point at me.
No.
I can see you.
What? It wasn't me. Some of us I
saw you.
It wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. Some of us over there
There's no one over there.
I think they're up there though.
Yeah, some of us listen to audiobooks.
Some of them listen to audiobooks at 1.5 or 2.5 speed, which is pretty entertaining. Sometimes I'll put her headphones in and it's like...
I'm getting better. Hey, no, I'll be honest. This quick hurry stuff, I'm quick and I hurry. And I can say, and I would encourage you to do the same. Reflect on yourself. You can learn from us all day long, but your greatest lessons are sometimes in your own life, right? So I can say that personally, I used to do that in a lot of areas of life, and it paid off when I was quick. It does not pay off when I've hurried through anything. The quality suffers, the people suffer, I suffer. It's not fun.
So one thing that's interesting is we have a joke that whenever either of us are hurrying, we talk in whale voice to each other, like in the movie Finding Dory. Now,
brutal.
It's
silly.
a
great reminder, but it works.
It's silly, but it's a silly, teasing, fun way, joking way, silly way for us to remind each other to slow down.
Working on it.
Even when we're talking to each other. And we jokingly do that with each other, but that's our cue to be like, oh, I'm also talking in 2.5 speed, fast forward right now, instead of really, truly slowing down and enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
Because there's something beautiful that happens when you just slow down and soak in a little life. I mean, we're in a very beautiful place. Let me show you once more. It's gorgeous out there right now, and it's been absolutely gorgeous here in Vail, Colorado. And what's wild and interesting is just taking a breath, soaking in some of the beauty around you, soaking in the beauty of a conversation, being able to talk with each other and almost listen to every word they say as if it was like a beautiful, beautiful melody from their soul being spoken into the world. Or listen, feel their touch and just experience them in that moment and experience just their heartbeat, coming through their touch and connection with you.
I love that my voice sounds so sweet to you.
It does, sometimes. And to experience them. And when I say sometimes, okay. I don't mean that it doesn't. What I mean is the times when I slow down enough to actually experience her voice, it's a beautiful experience. When I'm in a hurry and I'm just listening really quickly to get through what she's trying to say, to get to the next thing, I miss the beauty of the experience of what the sound waves feel like entering through my little ears over here. They might be big, I don't know. Entering through my ears and flowing, vibrating into my body. It's a very unique experience, and it only comes when you slow down. And so what's wild is we were thinking about this, and we say, where has slowing down, meaning non-hurrying, the opposite of that, where has that helped us in all areas of our life? And it helps us deeply to connect with each other in relationships when instead of trying to hurry through conversations, hurry through dinner with each other, hurry through a date night, hurry through making love with each other, hurrying through all this process, which sounds silly, but some people do.
That's true.
Some people hurry through all this stuff because there's something I got to get to next. And they treat something next more important than where they are now.
As if they're promised or if they're guaranteed a tomorrow.
Exactly. It's a wild experience. Imagine sitting with someone, and I have a few friends who do this. I'm going to smack them on the forehead next time they do it, and I hope someone hits me in the forehead if I do it. But if you're having a conversation with someone, and midway through the conversation, they're like, oh, yeah, totally. Anyways, what did you just say? Can you tell me that one more time? Yeah, I got it. Okay. No. They're hurrying through this moment of life. They're so consumed with what's next or what's over there or what's out there or what's going on somewhere else that literally they're not experiencing. Now, I'll give you a caveat because in this little video, you might see me looking down. I'm looking down because I'm trying to freaking read all your beautiful comments coming to make sure we're actually answering questions you're asking. So that thought process, though, of I'm trying to stay connected to you by reading and interacting with you, not trying to, just checking messages over here. But the concept of, in that moment, the practice of being present, not hurrying from one thing to the next, but being present in the thing you're in. And what's wild, I'll give my dad massive credit for this, because he's one of my favorite examples on earth of someone who is ridiculously present with wherever he is. And I don't know if it was always that way. I've only known him since I've been around. But as long as I've been around, he's really good at wherever he is, being 100% there. And when I was little, he never had a cell phone. He never had a way you could just call him directly. He never had a way anyone from the outside world seemingly could just enter with their distraction. It was always an assistant had it, or a secretary, or someone was always in charge of it so that it disconnected him from allowing anyone to disrupt wherever he was and what he was totally focused on. Now, are there side effects to that? Completely. Some of us in this family tend to run a little bit late or off schedule. They even make t-shirts about it. But the concept of being so present with where you are that you get lost in the moment. You fall in love with the moment. How do you know you're in love? You disappear, time disappears, and nothing else seems to matter. Literally, you look up at one point and it's 7 in the morning. You look up again at 7 at night and you're like, what the heck happened to this day? Because you were in love with the process. You were in love with that moment. You were so present with where you were that literally time flew by, even though it felt like only a moment had passed while you were there. And so there's something special about the practice. And I say it's a practice because you have to practice it. You have to catch yourself talking to 100 miles an hour and being like, whoa, why am I talking so fast? I'm not even enjoying the vibrational sounds that I'm making in the moment right now. Enjoy what it feels like to speak a word into this world. Enjoy what it feels like to receive someone else's words, vibrating through the air over to you. Enjoy what it experiences like to, sign your first check in your business. Enjoy what it feels like to receive your first commission check. I know we work with a lot of direct salespeople, and sometimes people are so much in a rush to get to that 6-figure check, 7-figure check, 8-figure check, that the first check that shows up that's for $1.75, they're like, okay, great. And they just throw it away. Versus being like, hey, it worked. I put an effort and I got something out. How cool. And actually like framing that thing. I love meeting people where they show us, they're like, hey, it didn't start off. It took a long time and I learned to enjoy the process of the growth. Here's my first check for like $2.64.
Yeah.
And you always laugh, but you're like, wow, they're enjoying the process of the growth. They're enjoying the moment. And I can tell you, we've all been guilty.
It just
of trying to hurry and force and rush through our stuff. But the process, the practice of just really, truly falling in love with the little micro steps every single day. And the more you can fall in love with those little steps, my mom's watching, falling in love with the process of making a leash. She hand makes leashes for dogs, which are really beautiful. I think it's Vaynerchuk.com or Vaynerchuk.net if you want to check it out. Mom, if you're watching, in the comment section.
This Facebook Live is sponsored by Vaynerchuk.
Put your web address. I know that people who have dogs on here, they might want to check out and grab a leash from you. I know they're beautiful.
They're awesome.
So if my mom is still watching,
they're the best.
I hope she puts her link to her website where she sells them because they're amazing. But the concept of enjoying making that leash. There's been times where I've gone over and tried to hurry the process where I'm like, Mom, we could scale this business. We can get like 5 leash makers. We can outsource this. We can have them all made. We can boost the production. We can amplify the numbers. We can grow this business. And she's like, yeah, but I like making the leashes.
Yeah.
And she's like, I like watching the people's faces when I customize it just for them and their dog. I like when it matches their colors and it fits right for the show. And she likes the process. And it's like, wow, how cool. And can you love the process and get rapid results? Of course you can. But you want to start with loving the process first. Because the other thing that happens if you don't love the process and you just force yourself to go through it to get to the outcome that you want, you get to the outcome and then you kind of get stuck. What do I mean? Let's say you start a business that you don't like, but you want the outcome, the financial rewards or the freedom you get from it. So you work really hard to rush through the process. And you force. And one day you make your 7 figures a year in business. And you're like, wow, I've done it. Holy smokes. Like I'm making $1 million a year in revenue. How cool. Or maybe $1 million in profit. Cool. Even cooler. So you got your $1 million a year. And now here's what's scary that happens. You're trapped prisoner in the business that you didn't like in the first place. That sucks. Because now the house you live in, the lifestyle you provide your family, the lifestyle you enjoy, the freedoms you have, the opportunities you have, all the things that came with the reward of this business that you love, you're stuck in a prison called your business because there's no way to get the same reward. I mean, if you quit, it goes away. Now, if you turn it into an actual business, so you're no longer the operator, but you're the owner of it, at that point, maybe you could sell it to someone or just keep it and let someone else run it. But if you're still stuck as the operator, self-employed, you're screwed because now you're literally stuck inside of something you hate and doing it only for the reward, which will literally destroy you as a human being from the inside out. And that sucks. And that has to go with business, relationships. Oof. I know I've certainly seen people where they let not their intuition, not the criteria that really mattered, and certainly not knowing it's the right thing, guide them in going after a certain person. They go after the person for the wrong reasons. They don't trust their instincts. They tell their instincts to shut up because there's some other reason why it has to be so great. And truly, they do the wrong thing. And they even know it feels wrong. It feels slimy in the way they're going about it. But they go get this person. And now that they have them, and then they build a family with them, and then they build all this other stuff with them. And one day they wake up and they're like, well, shit, now I'm stuck in this damn thing. And I'm with someone that I don't even enjoy being with. And it's like, oh, That's even worse than a business you're stuck in just because you like the money. But other people get in relationships because they like some benefit of the relationship. Then they get stuck there. Ouch.
Yeah.
Now you got to spend every day with the person.
Womp.
But this happens in every category of life. Certain people do this in their health. There's a certain physical result or physiological result they want to experience. They think if I could just get that, then it'll be perfect. They go get it. And whether it's a certain diet they went on, whether it's a certain enhancement they had made, whatever it is, they change stuff, and now they're stuck in it going, oh, shoot. I thought it was going to give some benefit, but in reality, it didn't give what I wanted, or worse, it gave me something I didn't want or anticipate, and now I'm stuck. This concept. Oh, here it is. It's LizRaynor.com, LizRaynor.com. Go check out my mom's leashes and buy a couple for a puppy of your choice.
They're awesome.
We love them. We use them for fuzz.
So comfy.
So you have one other story you wanted to share about a couple that...
Sure. Yeah, and I will. So there's one, you gave the 3 criteria of acting quick.
Yeah.
There are a couple tools, too, that I was just thinking about, that things that help us act quick but not hurry through things and be able to look at the bigger picture and slow down a little bit and enjoy those moments. And I would say meditation for sure helps a ton. So, and also one thing Jairek was saying was about enjoying the process, and we need to do this. But here's the thing. Sometimes we try to do it and then it just fails. Like sometimes I talk really fast and I know I'm supposed to slow down a little bit.
It's okay.
I know that it's not going to happen overnight. I might not slow down how fast I talk overnight. I might not stop and enjoy the moments overnight. But if you start and you practice somewhere, just like meditation or doing anything new for the first time, you might not knock it out of the ballpark the first time, and that's okay. But if we tap into that growth mindset and really focus on getting better with time, and right now I'm going to focus on being present just while I do X activity. I know I'm usually a little dispersed and doing a bunch of things at once. In this moment, maybe it's over dinner. Instead of checking my phone, I'm going to be present. And each day you add on, whether it's more time or more events throughout the day, you will get better and better and better, because it's simply not a muscle that's strong right now. But with time and with practice, you'll get better at being present. And I would say practice with motivation. Practice with meditation. Tap into that growth mindset, and I'm kind of forgetting the other thing. Oh, it was just practicing little bits of being present. Meditation helps us with that, and then just throughout the day, identify those times and places or moments that you're maybe not so present, and continue to be more present in those moments.
An easy thing you can do too is just take a deep breath and try right now. And as you let it out, repeat in your mind, I am here now. And then just take a couple more deep breaths and do the same thing. Just deep breath in. Mm-hmm. And just mention to yourself, I am here now. And then take another deep breath. And say to yourself, I am here now. And when you say it this next time, say it one more time, but feel the vibration of the words in your body. Feel your vocal cords vibrating. Feel it vibrating. Feel the breath in your body. And when you can practice just one more time,
don't worry, no one can see you. Just do it.
Just us staring at you.
We can't see you, though. We can only see how silly we look. But
that's not true. I'm staring right at you. Do it. No, I'm just kidding.
We can't see you.
I'm just kidding.
All right, here we go. Ready? Back. Let's focus.
I am here now. And what happens is you become present to this moment.
I like it.
So real simple activity. If you catch yourself running around like your head cut off, chicken with your head cut off, going a million miles an hour, trying to do 12 things at once.
Slow it down.
Slow it down.
Take a deep breath.
And this is probably one of the greatest gifts you can give each other in a relationship. Most of the time, women...
You're amazing at this.
Women are really good at something called diffused awareness, means thinking about everything all at once. And so a lot of times when a man wants to share something he thinks is important, what makes him feel he wants to feel heard in that moment, and for women too.
Yeah.
They want to feel heard. They want to feel understood. A man wants to feel acknowledged or appreciated about what he's sharing, so appreciative. And so part of that is hearing what they're actually sharing. And how you can best do that is someone says, hey, I have something important I want to share with you. You can literally just say, oh, hold on, give me a second. I am here now.
Yeah.
I am here now. I am here now. Okay. Now, I'd love to hear what you have to say so I can be totally present for it. And there's one other thing we talked about in JRC TV this week. I think it was last week's episode.
Yeah.
Which is if you go to JarekRobbins.com and /blog, you'll check it out. We talk about one other little secret sauce tip you can use, which has to do with touch, that can quiet a woman's world and make you the loudest thing in her world. So when you have something very important to share, if you reach out and hold her hand, all of a sudden, biologically, when you touch a woman, all of her nervous system as a safety, mechanism goes to whatever's touching her,
thing.
And it becomes the loudest thing in her world, and everything else becomes silent for like 30 seconds because it's her nervous system and her body saying, is this a danger? Is this a threat? Am I safe? And so all of her attention immediately goes to whatever just touched her.
And then it goes, I am safe.
And it says, okay, I'm safe. And then you got about a 30-second window to share something that's very important. Because in that moment, if you can share what's very important with her, now you will fully be heard and possibly appreciated. It's up to her at that point. But at least you'll have a moment that you can share something important with her and have her full undivided attention in that moment. So it's a good gift. It's a way to help her become present. Or, she and I can both practice saying, hey, I have something really important I want to share with you. Can we both get present real quick? And go, I am here now, I am here now, I am here now. I'll hurry through it.
One thing that
But you could practice becoming present in that moment and being there for that other person.
One thing that I've noticed from a woman's point of view, like a guy can be so laser focused, is, it's easy to just come in and just like, oh, here, like, pay attention to me. And the other thing that you're doing, because we can do that, but maybe guys aren't as good at it, is to just ask and say, hey, is this a good time? I'd love to share something with you. Is this a good time? And then they think about it. No, it's not, or yes, it is, or just give me one moment, and then that way you have his buy-in, because now he's told you, yeah, go for it, what is it? And it allows him to be present, so versus just barging in, ask him, like, is this a good time, or is later? I'd love to share something with you.
Something that can add to that is if, as a guy, for some reason, this is going to sound silly, but as a guy,
oh, hi, Coco.
If someone gave me, like, hey, I have something really important I'd like to share with you, it might take a minute or two.
Yeah.
Is this a good time?
Yeah.
Because that little time frame of how long it'll take will allow me to then plan it into where I can fit it. Because I would love to hear everything she has to share. And when everything's going a million miles an hour, this is especially the time when you got to use this concept and go, oh my gosh, what's more important right now? Everything going a million miles an hour or actually being present for my spouse? Now, in our rules and our goals and our vision, I want to put us first. So I don't care if I'm talking on stage. If she has something important to tell me, I'm going to stop everything, and I'm going to stop and turn towards her. That's a tip called turning towards. You want to look that one up. I'm going to turn towards her. I'm going to put everything else, stop. I'm going to take a breath, become present, and listen. And so one thing that helps a lot from the guy's side is if she said, hey, I have something that'll probably take about 60 seconds or maybe 90 seconds to share with you. I can go, ooh, I could do that right now. But if I don't know if it's going to take between 7 minutes or 30 seconds or 12 minutes or 20 minutes, that might make me feel like, ugh, I really promised the team I was going to finish this right now. I know I'm committed to putting us first, but I literally don't know if this is going to take 7 minutes or 20 minutes, and that's a big problem in my head. It creates a traffic collision in my head of like, oh, should I stop? Should I keep going? I don't know. So that little time frame is really, truly helpful. Just a little tip for all of you out there.
Yes.
So anyways, we hope this was useful. If you have any questions, oh man, holding my shirt. If you have any questions, let's see if we can answer them.
Yeah, if you have any questions, let us know.
Let's see. The power touch is huge. So many don't realize that.
It's so huge, right?
Thanks so much. This is crazy in sync
Do
with
you
what I
want
was
to
thinking
hear?
of.
Should I tell him the study?
I like the idea of touch, though. Totally agree.
Yeah.
What makes a man more focused then? I think you mean when you touch a woman, you become the most, focal point. If I'm reading this right, so what helps a man become more focused?
Lingerie. Maybe.
I think
it works.
What helps a man become more focused is
I'm just kidding. There are other options too.
Usually just telling him it's something that's really important to you.
Yeah.
And say, hey, this would mean the world to me if I could share this with you real quick. And it's probably about 3 minutes. I think something that's really interesting that was pointed out is when men and women are dating, meaning a man is on his best behavior. He's putting his best foot forward. He's trying really, really, really hard to impress the other person when they're dating. I think they said the time frame that the longest a man can stick with a meta report or a is about 5 to 7 minutes.
Meta report being like her story with all of the details is when they're dating 5 to 7 minutes.
7 minutes is really long.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is what helps a man stay focused? Keep it short.
Yeah. Another area I'm working on.
That sounds silly, but it's true. If you want his undivided...
That's why I talk so fast, because I know I have a very short window of time to tell you all the details about my story.
Doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Makes the head explode.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to listen to details.
It's true. I can literally see his head exploding.
If you all want an amazing book on this concept, look up Why Men Don't Have a Clue and Women Always Need More Shoes by Barbara and Alan Pace. And it talks about communication styles between men and women, specifically on this topic.
With the bikini.
And what's interesting is it'll show you how men and women literally communicate differently and how to kind of bridge the gap and understand both styles for men and women.
Yeah, I think really just knowing that they can really only focus on one thing at a time, even if you see them doing 2 things at a time sometimes, just know one at a time is what they're focused on. So asking when it's a good time or, can I have a second?
There's also piece that
there's
also pieces that women don't realize where a woman will talk about like 7 different topics in one story, and the way that other women know she's changed topics is by changing the tonality of what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And women can pick up on like 13.
It's like the carousel.
Women can pick up
so
on
many
like
stories at the same time.
Women can pick up on like 13 different tonalities.
Yeah.
Men can only pick up on, I think, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So we can't even hear the fact that you've changed topics the additional times past maybe those 6 if we were really in tune. And so, helps, like things that help. Keep it succinct. You always say the outcome is, or what I'm trying to say is, the point is...
Because I'll go all over the place with my story, and then I'm like, he starts looking at me like a little cross-eyed, like he's twitching a little bit, head's about to explode, and I'm like, the point that I'm trying to make is... And then, drum roll, and I tell him, and he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's true.
It helps.
Because sometimes she told me 17 different stories.
Look at his body language. If his head is about to explode.
And with 17 different stories, I don't know what story she's still talking about.
Yeah, and sometimes you just gotta call a girlfriend. Like, at the end of the day, what I've realized is that as excited as I am to share with him this stuff, like, only your girlfriends can keep up with the pace and the stories and the tones and all this stuff going on. Like, don't be frustrated with him. He's not a woman. So,
I'm not a hairy, misbehaving woman. Yeah. And she is not a hairless, misbehaving male.
She's a hot dude.
That's right. That's what she is, a hot dude. Anyways, so if you want to hurry through a conversation, if you want to share all the glorious, amazing details in long, drawn-out conversations, call your girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's a good place because they tend to be able to listen to the 13 different
tonalities. Roll with it.
They love sharing with you, and they're going to share back, and you're going to share with them, and it's great to connect. But hopefully this is all helpful for y'all. Yeah. I don't see any questions, and it is dinner time for us, so we are going to say good evening, and good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're tuning in from.
Thank you.
Hold on one sec. We have a question. Let's see. It's like Carl Rogers, founder of the Person-Centered Counseling, says, what saves argument is checking you understand what has been said before replying. I love that, though sometimes people can't stop doing that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one big thing is being able to try to listen to what the points were and say, it sounds like you're saying, and then share with them. And there's a difference. I'll tell you a little caveat. A friend of mine taught me this. Instead of saying, I think that you said, now you're creating a barrier because you're saying, I think. So now it's an interpretation versus it sounds like you said this. Because when you say, it sounds like you said this, it's not your opinion. It's just what it sounded like. And now it gives space for them to correct it or tell you what's really important.
That's so powerful.
Without making it about you.
Yeah.
And because if she says something, she says blue apples, and I say, if I heard you correctly, it's blue pears.
Yeah.
She goes, no, you didn't hear me correctly. And now it's attacking each other. Versus if she says blue apples, and I said, it sounds like you said blue pears.
Or I really want to try to understand this.
And she goes, no, that's not what I don't know how it sounded like that. It's not what I said.
Yeah.
What I said was blue apples.
I said sweet potatoes are in the oven.
Oh.
I actually got a chance to.
So it's a way to connect there. Let's see. Enjoy your dinner. That is my QN as a counselor. Thank you for this live chat. Enjoyed it very much. You're welcome, Jess.
Thanks, guys.
Rita, thank you so much.
Coco.
Helpful information. Can't wait to do some of this in my marriage. Perfect.
Hey, if you guys have any topics you want to cover in upcoming Facebook Lives, let us know.
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
Last question, real quick. Marilyn says, hey, is there a reason why women have to adjust to men versus why both individuals don't need to adjust to each other in communication style? Absolutely not. So men can adjust to women as well, meaning... Can
I read that again?
Sure.
I didn't want to make sure I understand this.
It sounds like she's saying...
It's the reason why women have
It sounds like she's saying that women need to adjust to men, but men don't need to adjust to women. I think it's people meeting both in the middle.
Yeah.
It's a man realizing that if he wants to become the loudest thing in her world, instead of just me standing back and saying, well, she should listen to me because I'm speaking and it's obviously important, instead of me thinking that, it's me going to her and saying, okay, what can I do to help her adjust to be able to hear me? So I grab her hand, and that helps her focus in that moment, which is sometimes hard to do, and it helps her to be able to hear me. Now, if she wants to help me better hear her, she can come to me and say, the point is this. And all of a sudden, it helps me better hear her because she's speaking in a way that I can better understand, or I'm acting or speaking or touching in a way that helps her better hear me. So it's both ways.
Yeah, it's totally both ways. And you know what? I would recommend taking out have and should in your language, like in your vocabulary when you're talking about like how we interact with the opposite sex. So here's the thing, like if you went to Spain, you wouldn't go like, why do I have to speak Spanish? It's like, well, because they speak Spanish there. If you want to eat, you better learn to speak Spanish. If you want your relationship to work, you better learn to understand how men communicate, and vice versa. That works for men too. Men have to understand, or not have, sorry, I just said take it out of your language and I use it. If they want the relationship to work, it would be in their best interest to understand how women work too. There's a great book on this. If there's a man in your life, or woman, if you just want to make sure that the literature out there about women to better understand yourself or to better communicate, like not educate a man, whatever, scratch that. John Gottman has this book. It's called, what? I want to share this book really quick. Why are you laughing at me?
Beaver Creek is being informed.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? What? The Man's Guide to Woman by John Gottman is a really great one. So it's not about women having to adjust or do things for men. It's about us both being in sync with the opposite sex, as Alison Armstrong says, to really understand and love each other. And we have to learn to speak each other's language. I would hope. Damn it, I'm using should and have.
Okay, let me help.
We gotta go.
Let me help sum this up. It's a commitment from both people saying if we want to have an amazing relationship, we're both committed to learning about each other.
Yes.
We're both committed to practicing things that can
growing
help.
together.
We're both committed to finding ways to grow. We're both committed to finding ways to better communicate.
Don't make this a battle of the sexes.
It's both sides making that commitment to do it. So, Marilyn, great question, though.
Awesome question. I love that you brought that up.
Because a lot of people have that same exact thought process of, why do I have to go study this? Why do I have to go do this? And they don't. And it's saying, hey, the God-honest goal would be you find someone who's just as committed to learning and growing and communicating as you are. And truthfully, there are unequal matches where one person's actually wanting to do it and the other person isn't.
And that's both genders.
A lot of research has shown that a man's willingness to want to learn and apply and grow specifically around relationship topics is a huge determining factor whether the relationship is going to have longevity or not, whether it's going to last or not. Because it's been shown, if you go to most events on relationships, it's predominantly women attending, mostly. Because a lot of women become, at some point, interested in how to grow, how to expand, how to better communicate, how to have a better marriage, better relationship, better communication styles, which is beautiful. They're willing and able and curious enough and open enough to go learn this stuff. And so for all the guys who tune in and listen to this, thank you and bravo to you for taking time to check this stuff out. But I would say if you want a lasting, fulfilling relationship, add constant and never-ending improvement to your own personal commitment in the relationship, meaning I'm going to constantly be learning. And this isn't 100% all men do this, all women. So there's some women who are stubborn as hell who don't want to change their ways, who don't want to improve, who don't want to learn, who don't want to grow. And there's some men in the same position. And there's some men who absolutely want to constantly grow and learn and expand, and some women who always do. And so you want to make sure you're equally matched, because the people who don't want to change, let them match up together. That's totally fine. Don't change together. Be the same always. Don't do anything. And the people who really want to grow, please find someone else who wants to expand with you and grow with you and learn with you and communicate with you and cultivate a beautiful relationship together. And that might be one of those, going back to the very beginning, 3 criteria we talked about. One of those key important checkboxes might be someone who's committed to constantly learning and growing in their relationships. And that way, not just your intimate one, but all relationships, you find someone who's willing to go on the journey with you. So hopefully this was helpful. I see lots of hearts flying. Thank you. Have
Thanks
a
for the
wonderful
love. Thanks
night.
For sharing it.
If you
Thanks
found this
questions.
useful, click the share button and spread the love to people on your little Facebook group there. Feel free to click that share button. Thanks, Mom. Appreciate the love. And go buy a couple of my mom's leashes. She's awesome. And so click the share button and tell people what they're going to get out of this so that they know what they're headed for. Have a great morning, evening, day, afternoon. See y'all soon. And
bye,
peace
guys.
out.